We can go.
Good afternoon, everyone. This meeting is now called to order. Today is July the 28th, and you have joined the Committee on Urban Redevelopment and Planning. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Chairwoman Harris,
Present.
Vice Chairman Narducci,
Here.
Councilman Correa,
Present.
Councilwoman Castillo,
She must be on mute.
Present.
Councilman Espinal.
Present.
You have 5 present, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, could you please read the first item on the agenda? Before we do that, I would like to hear from the solicitor because we are, could you tell us the legality of this meeting tonight?
Sure. Thank you. So at the start of the pandemic, the governor issued several executive orders, one of which essentially allowed for telephonic or Zoom public meetings. That executive order has been extended on a few occasions, most recently on July 10th. Executive Order 2053 continued the permissive nature of these Zoom meetings, provided you allow the public the normal access they would have, and provided the public has the opportunity to speak as if they normally would at a public meeting. And the governor extended the ability for these meetings to be conducted that way up till and including August 9th. So we are well within our rights to conduct the meeting in this manner.
Thank you so much, Mr. Solicitor. And I wouldn't skip over that important message. Thank you so much for being able to. Now, Madam Clerk, will you please read the first item on the agenda?
Item number 1 is a resolution requesting to change the street name of Obadiah Brown Road to Patrick J. McCarthy Road.
Okay, I understand that we have some items that has to be entered into the record.
That is correct, Madam Chair. We have responses from the postmaster, from the fire department, and from the police department.
May I ask you to read those items, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Madam Chair. The first item from the postmaster states that they have received the memo and resolution requesting a street name change. The Postal Service has no issue with the street name change of Obadiah Brown Road to Patrick J. McCarthy Road. Please let me know when that will become effective so we may input this street name in our database. If there is anything else we can do in support of your efforts, please contact me. Sincerely, James Spencer, Manager, Post Office. The second response is from the fire department, from the acting chief, Commissioner Perry. Dear Councilwoman Harris, I am in receipt of your memorandum regarding the resolution requesting to change the street name of Obadiah Brown Road to Patrick J. McCarthy Road. Upon review of this request, this office recommends approval. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. And the last is from Colonel Hugh T. Clements, and he said he has read the resolution requesting the name change of Obadiah Brown Road to Patrick McCarthy Road, and he approves.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We would like to enter those items, and I would entertain a motion to enter items A. We would say A, B, and C. May I have a motion from my committee, please?
Motion made.
Motion made by Councilman Narducci. Vice Chairman Narducci. Second by Councilwoman Costello. Thank you. Can you please enter those items?
So noted, Madam Chair.
Right now, we are going to begin this discussion. So right now we have the sponsor here, and she's here tonight to speak on this item. So we want to hear from her first, and the importance of why this is important issue for us to just talk about tonight. So thank you for bringing this item before the committee.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and my colleagues as well, and also the folks that have come this evening to discuss this important topic. I'd just like to give you a little background on how this journey started. I As many of you know, I represent Pleasant View Elementary School. I opened a recreation center on the back of that school. And the school and the rec center are on Obadiah Brown Road. Recently, on the heels of the famous 9-hour finance committee meeting, which many of you were in attendance at, we visited Pleasant View Elementary School. Actually, Billy Kepner, our director of communications, and I went to the school, and we were enjoying the graduation ceremonies. At that point, I looked at Billy and I said, Billy, we really need to look at Obadiah Brown Road, the naming, who it was named after and why. Because, given the testimony that we heard the prior evening, I thought it was compelling that we need to make sure that our children are not living, playing, learning on a street that was related to any slave trading for obvious reasons. Anyway, I asked Billy to help me. He engaged the assistance of our city archivist, Caleb Horton, who is with us today, and he endeavored to research the naming of the road. By the way, it's a road and a field. So it's Obadiah Brown Road and Obadiah Brown Field that we're renaming. I also asked Caleb, basically I said, if there's any slave trading connected with that road and field, I would like you to confirm that first of all. And then next, I would like his guidance as to a proper name, to do some research. Know that in the past, the council has moved to name streets and facilities after prominent members of Providence that have contributed greatly to our culture and our history. So I said, please, endeavor to find an appropriate name for the street and the road. So that's kind of how the project started. Very soon after that request, Caleb reported back that it was indeed true. There was a nexus. And then he began to go down the road of who might be an appropriate namesake. He surfaced on Patrick J. McCarthy. He's the first foreign-born mayor of Providence, and I agreed with him. I felt that he was a better person to honor with the street name and the field name, given what we know. Patrick McCarthy was born in Sligo, County Sligo, Ireland. His family immigrated to the United States in 1850 to avoid the potato famine. They were quarantined on Deer Island in the Boston Harbor, where his parents actually died. He and his 5 brothers were separated after their quarantine, and he lived with various family members in poorhouses growing up in Boston. At age 20, he moved to Providence and graduated Harvard Law School. McCarthy became a prominent attorney in Providence. He served on the city council, a distinguished body, I might add, and was a member of the Rhode Island House of Representatives. In 1906, he was elected as the 24th mayor of the city of Providence. He was a staunch advocate of progressive good government, and most noted for supporting an 8-hour workday for city laborers. But that's pretty much the background on why I put forth this resolution. I did speak with the principal of Pleasant View Elementary School about the name change, and I spoke with Ray Rickman as well. But I do think at this point it might be appropriate, Madam Chair, if we could ask Caleb to review his research.
Thank you, Majority Leader.
Madam Chair, before, if you don't mind,
Vice Chairman.
I just got a comment before we let Caleb speak.
Sure, absolutely.
I guess two of the things moving forward, Caleb, that I'd like to know is just what the involvement was with the slave trading. From what I understand.
Oh, you have more than one.
Before
you get started, Caleb. You have more than one, Councilman. Go ahead.
A comment. Because from the understanding I'm under is that he was also a state rep and a state senator. And, what really gets me is the changing of these names. Yet nobody wants to go after Brown University themselves. Our children go to the university. The university, as we're well known, we got a member of the Brown family in front of us now that we're discussing. The Brown family were, and you could correct me, Caleb, if I'm wrong, one of the biggest slave traders in the country, but yet Brown University can still remain Brown University. And again, I don't want no answers on that. That's the comment I'm making. And moving forward, I think we as council people have to really keep our minds open on this, because again, what's that old saying? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Viceman. Caleb, at this time, can you identify yourself for the record?
Yeah, I'm the city archivist, Caleb Horton, and I'll recite what I was asked to do for the research. Leader Ryan reached out to me to research Obadiah Brown, who he was and his connection to the slave trade, aka the triangle trade. Initially, I'll reiterate briefly to the committee who Obadiah Brown 1712 to 1762 was. Obadiah Brown 1712 to 1762 was born in Providence. His father was Elder James Brown, 1666 to 1732, a pastor of the First Baptist Church. His mother was Mary Harris Brown. Upon reaching adulthood, Obadiah joined his older brother James Brown, 1698 to 1739, in the mercantile trade, which included traffic in cocoa, rum, molasses, and slaves. His initial role was as master of his brother's vessel in the West Indies trade. In 1736, he shipped out to the African coast as the supercargo of the family sloop Mary, which thus became the first known Providence slave ship. However, this trip does not seem to have been very profitable, and the Browns apparently had no further direct involvement in the slave trade for over 20 years. After the death of James in 1739, Obadiah retired from sea himself, but continued the business. During the 1750s, he became the first Providence merchant to trade directly with England, bypassing the traditional mercantile cities of Boston and Newport. He also opened a spermaceti candle factory as early as 1751. He also helped to raise James's young children, later forming a partnership with James' 4 surviving sons as Obadiah Brown and Company. The firm made another attempt at the slave trade in 1759 when their ship, the Wheel of Fortune, was captured by French privateers. Now regarding the research on the road and lands that make up Obadiah Field and Triggs Golf Course and its connection with Obadiah Brown the merchant. Joseph Brown, 1701, was the son of Elder James Brown, 1666 to 1732. Joseph's brothers were Obadiah Brown, the merchant slave, and James Brown, 1698 to 1739. James, 1698 to 1739, was the father of John, Joseph, Nicholas, and Moses, who were well known to be connected with the slave trade and with Brown University, as I'm sure my colleague Ray Rickman will discuss. Joseph was not a direct partner in his business per se, but he was a farmer, but was close to Obadiah, the merchant and the slaver, and speculated lots of land in Providence and into North Providence, which lays in current day Ward 5, including real estate, not in present day Ward 5, but on Town Street, which would be present day downtown North Main Street, that he bought from his brother Obadiah, the merchant, in 1736. The deed transaction for lands in North Providence, current day Ward 5, reside in Pawtucket City Hall. Nevertheless, the Browns were able to use their power, influence, and money to buy land and trade it among themselves. Obadiah Brown, 1823 to 1907, inherited land from his great-grandfather Joseph Brown, 1701 to 1778, the brother of Obadiah from 1712 to 1762, the merchant. A farmer, agriculturist, and served as a stint in the state legislature representing North Providence, bought more lots over time. Thus, the small vestiges that survive, i.e. the road and the field which the city owns, now appear to be named after the great-nephew of Obadiah, who was the merchant enslaver. That was eventually acquired by Providence to make Triggs Golf Course in 1929, named after the superintendent of parks, Jeremiah Triggs, and the athletic field by Mount Pleasant. Obadiah, born in 1823, whose direct family line of descent was Chad, John, James, Joseph, Andrew, and Richard Brown, was named after his great-grandfather's brother, Obadiah, as were many others in the Brown family. That's my initial research. The genealogical line is connected with the Brown family and Obadiah Brown. So he would, this Obadiah that the road is named after is related to Obadiah Brown, the merchant.
Madam Chair.
Chairman, Vice Chairman Narducci, you have
Thank
the
you.
floor.
So Caleb, quick question. This Moses Brown that's a part of this family, is that the same Moses Brown that we got a high school named after up on the east side of Providence?
Yes, we do.
And we're not changing Moses Brown's name. I mean, I think if this whole Brown family is involved with what went on, I agree that moving forward, that we need to take that whole family up, that the whole naming of the Brown University, Moses Brown, and look into what else we named after them in our city, and look into changing all of those names moving forward. I want to thank you, Caleb. You're always very thorough on the work you do. But, you know, again, moving forward, I want everybody to know where I'm coming from moving forward with the Brown family, period. Thank you.
Well said, Vice Chairman. At this time, I want to hear from our other archives. I like to see these two together. You know, when I first met Caleb, and then those two came together, they were just inspiring just to hear the both of them going back and forth with history in the middle of the street, Dorrance Street, and I happened to walk up on them. So right now, I want to hear from Mr. Ray Rickman. We all know who he is, but please introduce yourself for the records.
I'm Executive Director of the Stages of Freedom and used to be Deputy Secretary of State in charge of many things, but in charge of the State Archives as well. And I read someplace in Prominent Journal that I am a historian. I'm really not, but they said it. So if it's in the paper, all of you know it's true.
I like to call both of you that.
First, I want to commend you for creating a body that's going to look at the whole issue of naming and honorific places and street names and Mr. Columbus and the whole ball of wax. About 11 years ago, I went to look at the swimming pool at the school. And that's the first time I was there. And I saw the sign, Obadiah Brown, and I went, whoa. And you know how you have, and all of you are guilty of this, I'm sure. You have this list of things you're going to do, and you don't get to it. And Obadiah got on my list that his name needed to come off the street. Now, later I found out that it is not Obadiah proper, but you know, a recent descendant. So what does that mean? And I'm addressing my former colleague in the General Assembly with this, as well as the honorable body. Before the Civil War, there was no such thing as corporations. Carnegie and those folks created them. Later, Mr. Aldrich, who we all know, they created corporations. And we know what corporations Textron is today. But before the Civil War, there was only families. And families worked together. And nephews, if you didn't have enough sons, because it's sexist society, girls couldn't do anything. If you didn't have enough sons, you brought in your cousins and your nephews. And the Brown family was the ultimate family business in Rhode Island. Now, not only were they slavers, big time, and I like to be fair to them, there are about 40 families involved in slavery. The DeWolfs of Bristol were the slavers in the entire continent, number one. So the Browns paled next to them, but they didn't pale next to anybody else. And now what did the Browns do? They did all this slaving, and then John Brown got in trouble because after slavery was over, he kept doing it, went on trial. This is a nasty family. And can I reiterate, a person involved is not the only person involved. It is their children and their grandchildren. And the Brown family has their counting house at 50 South Main. And that family has been involved in their family business until the present moment. I saw one of them going in the counting house yesterday morning. So this is a family business. Now, it gets really nasty because not only did the Browns do slavery, but when they got tired of that or in legal trouble after about 1878, they then went to China, first ones to go to China to do opium. Now, we call it something else these days, but I want to be a historian, okay, and call it opium. And they did that for about 25 years. And so the Brown we're talking about was Obadiah, descendant, was part of that family when they were busy doing opium. Now, I'm also upset with them because they did child labor beyond belief at Slater Mill. So this is child labor, 7-year-olds working 12 and 14-hour days. This is opium. This is slavery. And I just got started. They had their antenna out into Ace in North Providence, Pawtucket, Cumberland, and then a third, I'm exaggerating. I hate people who exaggerate. They owned a sixth of the state of New York. Okay? This is a family business. And I thought this was Obadiah when I saw the sign, but it doesn't matter because he was involved in very nasty activities as his earlier relative was. Finally, let me say this, and I'd be glad to respond. Brown University and Moses Brown are private institutions. The council could pass resolutions, but it certainly can't change their names. This you can do. This is honorific street name. They probably bought it. The records don't show that the council met, and as Councilwoman Ryan is doing, made a proposal and to honor someone. I think they just said, you want this piece of land, let's put the name on it as you buy it. That's my guess of what happened. So they actually bought it. It didn't get honored with the naming. And final comment, I think we should look at all of this. Stages of Freedom will be before the council sometime soon, asking you to change a little street name, different. And it's just like Obadiah Brown in that it's even better. This is a street that no one lives on, that everyone drives on. And you're going to have 20 of these opportunities in the next 3 years. Is that right, Mr. Archivist?
Sorry, I muted you. Yes, yep, that's right.
You know, to make the story right, this is a city, 51% people of color, and I'll bet you 90% of the white folks in this city don't think streets should be named after slave dealers or their families. I'd be glad to respond to anything. And Councilman Naducci, Brown is the Black president of Brown, instituted one of the most special activities in the history of this country, having Brown own up to slavery in a fabulous report. If you haven't read it, I'll send it to you. And Brown's supposed to be making amends. They haven't done much. They've done a little. And by you taking Obadiah Brown's name off this street, you'll be helping them along.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ray Rickman. Is there any question for Mr. Rickman? Again, Vice Chairman Naducci.
No, Ray, I would appreciate you sending me that. If you could send me a hard copy, though, please.
Okay, I will. And can I was neglectful. This mayor you're talking about deserves this honor in the public square. It's too bad it can't be bigger and better because, again, as you heard who he was, and he's an honorable mayor. So I think I'm not sure you could do anything better, Councilwoman Ryan.
Thank you for that as well. Before I ask, is there anyone else that want to speak on this issue? I would like to hear from some of my other colleagues if they haven't spoken yet. If you would prefer to speak, if you don't want to speak right now, I would.
I just have a quick question.
All right. See,
Madam
I
Chair.
love my committee. Look at this. All right.
Thank
Councilman
you.
Espinal, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Just a point of clarification. So this Obadiah Brown that we're speaking of, it's the same family as Moses Brown, as clearly stated. But is this also the same family that owned Brown University?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same family.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I just want to be clear on that.
Now, just for your information, they're a colonial family. They came 2 years after Roger Williams. So they're one of the original families. This is Chad Brown's family.
Yeah, Chad.
And they were a powerhouse right into the 1980s. I mean, a powerhouse. Now they've diminished that power a little bit.
Thank you, Mr. Rickman.
At this time, Madam Clerk, is there anyone else that's desiring to speak on this matter?
Madam Chair, we do have several people that were invited. We do have Principal Bagley from Pleasant View. Commissioner Perry is still here. He was here just to offer any further insight as to his approval, and we do have Mr. Waslick here.
Okay. Well, we got all three of them in desire to speak because I would preference whoever want to go first. Or should I just make a decision? Let's talk with the commissioner. Greetings, Commissioner Perry. How are you today?
Greetings to
Identify
you.
yourself for the record.
Thank you. I figured it was coming my way since you chair this committee, so thank you. I'm
Thank
Stephen
you.
Barry. I'm the Public Safety Commissioner for the City of Providence, and I'm acting fire chief for the fire department. I don't see my colleague, Colonel Clements, on. I know he was invited, but he may have joined, so I'll represent the police department as well as the commissioner. So we fully both support and endorse this change. We weigh in on public safety concerns, in which we have none, obviously, but let me just say that we also would like to opine about the appropriateness of changing names on our streets that have ties to slavery and still have, an impact on our community. So kudos to everyone on the committee and everyone on this call as well. We need to do more to make everyone feel like they are included and respected in our community. So more importantly than a public safety concern, but for a community concern, that we wholeheartedly endorse this change. Thank you, Chairwoman, and if there are any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Is there any question from the committee? Thank you so much, Commissioner, for being with us tonight, and thank you for your words of wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I be excused because I have another 5 I'd like to get to? Is that okay with you?
Maybe. I'm only teasing. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for showing up tonight. Thank you.
Thank you
I
so
love
much.
the way that sounds. May I be excused?
Yeah,
It brought me back. It brought me back to school. Yes,
I
you
know
may,
where the,
Mr. Espinal.
I know where the power lies. Good night. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
night.
Thank you for tonight. Thank you. Madam Clerk, I'm going to let you pick the next person to speak. Can you tell me who was next?
Yes, I think we should go with Principal Bagley
Yes.
from Pleasant View.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Kristen Bagley. I'm the principal here at Pleasant View, going into my 3rd year here as principal. And I want to thank you, Councilwoman Ryan, and everybody for having me here tonight, and most importantly, for putting this forth on behalf of our students. Pleasant View is a beautifully diverse and inclusive community of students and families, and this represents such a teachable moment for our students, and just listening to the history of the area. I welcome Ray and Caleb into our schools and help educate our students into really, just how this community has grown and developed over the years. But knowing that we have an address that reflects some of the honorable and inspiring people that have come before us is really important. And again, I want to thank you for starting to make these changes. In Providence, we're committed to cultural diversity and culturally responsive education now more than ever. It feels like a new day, and I'm excited to be a part of it. I fully support this, so thank you.
Thank you for being with us tonight, and do not let those two off the hook. Make sure to come to the school to speak with the kids. Yes. All right, thank you for being with us tonight. We will move on to our next participant and guest. Wait a minute, before we do that, is there any questions for our principal from the committee?
Just a comment.
Go ahead, Councilman Vice Chairman Nanducci.
I've had the pleasure of meeting the principal a couple of different times, and I still think she's a pretty decent person because she also supports the Patriots, so that's a good thing.
Well, I know she got your vote on that. Okay. We'll move on to our next participant, please.
Majority Leader Ryan has her hand up, Madam Chair.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't see her hand. Was it? Oh, there it is over there in the little hand. All right, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to take this opportunity to thank the principal of Pleasant View. Kristen Bagley does an absolutely wonderful job. She's a wonderful partner in education for our kids. We have a rec center up attached to her school. She embraced that relationship. I think it's paid off in so many ways. And I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you very much for taking time away from the kids, away from the school to come tonight to testify in support of this resolution. So you're always there, you're always working hard, and it shows. It's a wonderful school on the Hill, and I'm very, very proud of the work that you do. Thank you.
And she's got 2 volunteers to come in and teach some history.
There you go.
Okay. Absolutely. Look at that.
I echo the chairwoman's comment. Don't let them off the hook.
Don't let them off the hook.
They make a wonderful presentation.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. We'll move on to our next participant at this time.
Yes, Madam Chair, that will be Mr. Peter Waslick.
Please identify yourself for the record, sir, please. Is he on mute?
Peter, you're on mute.
How's that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Welcome.
Peter Waslick, and I live at 21 Obadiah Brown Road. I'd like to begin by saying that looking at all of the facts, I've submitted some documentation to Tina Mastriani this morning, and I'm not sure if all of you have received it. I also indicated, or she indicated that you would be able to show those documents at this meeting.
Madam Chair, with your permission, would you like me to show the documents?
Would you be able to put them up on the portal? All right, Madam Clerk, if you don't mind putting them up on the portal, please. And Ms. Weisler, will you be walking us through these documents?
Yes, I think that's probably the easiest way at this point.
Okay, thank you so much.
So basically,
thank you. We see it.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically,
it's tiny, but he's going to walk us through it. Councilman Narducci and I don't like tiny things.
All right. So basically, this document is the actual council resolution that you are being asked to vote on this evening. And it has an absolutely incorrect identification, as I think both former Representative Ray Rickman indicated, that this is not the Obadiah Brown that was the person who owned the slave ship. And this resolution specifically states that Obadiah Brown was the owner of the first known Providence-based slave ship. So just to clarify, I don't see how this resolution can be passed in this form when it's absolutely incorrect. The the next document is the portions of the article from the Providence Journal. And just shows that the journal report that was done by Madeline List. And it reiterates on the next page, which I incorporated, the next page, if we could go to that. Again, reciting the fact that the person that was named after was a merchant who participated in activities in the 1736 mission to Africa on the sloop Mary, the first known Providence slave ship. Again, incorrect information. And I think that that was confirmed by the testimony of Ray Rickman earlier. The next document shows that the Obadiah Brown that we are talking about is the Obadiah Brown that lived in this area and was born on November 30th of 1823. He was not the Obadiah Brown that had the slave ships. Now, we can all say it's the same family, all that. I'm sure there are members of your families that you don't want to be affiliated with, associated with, or maybe members of our families that had some relation to the Brown families. I think it's a shame to dishonor this particular individual who lived in this area. I've lived in this area my entire life. My parents knew the family. The last daughter of Obadiah Brown died in 1954. And in 1972, the house that they lived in was finally demolished and is near the site of the Triggs Memorial Golf Course Clubhouse. And if you look at the facts, we are talking about here, if you don't have the facts, it seems like I heard these arguments a little while ago, is you don't have the facts on your side, just argue family connections. Where are the facts? Where are the facts? I've been communicating with Caleb Horton, and I tried to indicate to him, because my wife, especially when we moved here to this street, which I lived a couple of streets over, indicated that she wasn't comfortable with the name Obadiah Brown, believe it or not. So we've done extensive research and came to the conclusion that this is not the Obadiah Brown that was a slave trader. Because if it is, and if he can prove it to me, I'll be the first one to stand there and go to the corner right now and change the sign. But this is not the individual. And it's a shame that we are doing this. And I feel blindsided by Caleb Horton, who I've been speaking to for a week and a half about this. And he seems to have been agreeing with me and never told me the information he had. I was trying to be totally honest with him and gave him documents. But let's be that as may. We know there are outside political pressures that bear upon employees, and I feel bad for the situation that Caleb Horton is in. If we go to the next document. This document kind of indicates information about Obadiah Brown, and it states specifically, a well-known farmer throughout New England and a member of the State Board of Agriculture, was born in the town of North Providence. And let me point that out, because this area was North Providence before it was annexed and it became Providence. So this was North Providence, this area near Triggs Golf Course and Obadiah Brown Road. And basically, he was born on November 30th, 1823. Not this Obadiah Brown that owned the slave ships. And he's a descendant of Chad Brown. And he came to this area and basically was elected state senator, state representative. And on the next page, it indicates more to the effect that he became a member of the State Board of Agriculture, cited the many terms he served in the state legislature as both a state representative and state senator, and well respected by the governor, it indicates. So I don't know, I can't believe that we would change the name of a street for an individual who was bearing the burdens of his family, according to what we've heard a little while ago. If anything, we should look comprehensively citywide at all of these issues and not pick on Obadiah Brown, who was a person of great moral character. I believe, I can't remember if it was Ray Rickman or someone else indicated that, or if it was Joanne Ryan, Councilwoman Joanne Ryan herself, who indicated that we're looking at Patrick J. McCarthy because he contributed greatly to the culture. Well, Obadiah Brown committed greatly to the culture here, and I just don't see how we can just, with a broad brush approach, change the name. There's no proof, I haven't heard one iota of evidence tonight that indicates that this Obadiah Brown had any relationship to the family business of slave ships. Not one iota of evidence. And if you look at the next document, talks about a forgotten history, the slave trade, etc. And this document on the next page talks about what I believe was confirmed, that the Wheel of Fortune slave ship was owned in 1759 by another Obadiah Brown. And then we heard things to the effect that Patrick J. McCarthy, well respected, and maybe he is. I don't have a problem with that. But also, Ahmed Battistini was well respected, who Ray Rickman and I served with in the legislature, and they named the recreation center here the Battistini Rec Center. If we are going to think about it, why not the Battistini Way or something to that effect? No input from the community, no contact, no one contacted me. I feel totally blindsided by Caleb Horton, blindsided by this whole procedure. I feel it's a bait and switch, leading me into this and coming around and giving information about a family. Then I receive, and I thank Tina for clarifying the next document. She indicated that this was sent in error, but you can understand when I received this around July 11th from the Providence Post Office, indicating the name of my street was changed. Now, of course, I came to all sorts of conclusions. I've been in the legislature, we're all politicians. I came to all sorts of, done deal, done, but Tina clarified that that was an error, and I accept her explanation of that. Again, the resolution on the next page is just a copy of the same resolution, which we spoke about before, that it's incorrect, it's not the same Obadiah Brown. And then the last document indicates the fact that Obadiah Brown Farm here was built in 1932 as the Triggs Memorial Golf Course land. So I'm not a historian, but I think that the facts bear out more consideration here than what's been done, and I thank you. If you have any questions.
Is there any question for Mr. Wisely?
Madam Chair, I have a question for Caleb.
Absolutely, I'm sorry, Pro Temp Correa. You have the floor.
Thank you. Caleb.
Yep.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but several weeks ago, I told you that there's been several individuals that have reached out regarding this matter. We had that conversation
Yeah, your
on the third floor of our city hall, and at that time, one of the persons that had concerns that this was identified as the wrong Obadiah Brown or whatever, and have you followed? You spoke to her on the phone. I gave you her information. Did you ever follow up with her?
I didn't, because I had to spend much of the time researching for this meeting. But as I told you guys, I did the family research that I was asked to do, and I've presented that. I do recognize that it's Obadiah born 1823, but I was asked to present the genealogical history of the family.
I understand that, but when you spoke to these taxpayers, you told them that you were going to follow up with them.
Yes, and
that's correct, and you didn't.
Well, that's the point of this meeting tonight, is we're following up on it. Again, it took me several days of intense research to find this information, including going to the Pawtucket City Hall for that information.
But there seems to be also, from what I'm being told, is that you're giving mixed reactions to people. You're agreeing with everybody.
I agree that it was
You're
named.
agreeing with everybody
Ms. Pro Temp, right at this point, I would like to, as the chair, I'd like to exercise my power, not for us to go back and forth. I think the real question would be here for both, if you don't mind, just understanding there has to be a question asked. Is this gentleman related to the Browns? I'm getting a conflict here. I understand from Mr. Wise's thing that they're not related, and then I'm hearing that they are related. So I think my question to be able to understand, are they related? And this is for both Caleb or Mr. Rickman, whichever one want to answer it is okay.
I'm here just to provide the information, and the information.
Are they related? The Browns that
Yes, they are related, and I do agree that the road was named after Obadiah, born in 1823. My stance is just the evidence here of the genealogical line that I was asked to present. I have passed along the information, and I have presented to the people who've asked. I even said that in my opening statement, that yes, the road was named after Obadiah Brown, born 1823. I want to clarify that now. So if there is confusion, I have said that is true, but I also have presented the family line that I was asked to research.
So, Madam Chair, may I give an answer to a
yes,
question
please.
that you didn't quite ask, but may I give it anyway?
Okay, please.
This is a very static country. You know, we're running around honoring Andrew Jackson, who killed Native Americans on the White House lawn because he had the power to get on the dollar bill at some point. And
You fading out.
have the power to take him off because it's a different time and different. So let me try again. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, so I want to give an example and then I'll be more precise to be respectful to Peter. Andrew Jackson gets on the currency for 150 years, and he killed Native Americans on the White House lawn. We don't honor people who kill Native Americans on the White House lawn. So now let's come to this gentleman. Every piece of research tells me that he wasn't honored. He just got his name on a street, and it's a big sign.
Mr. Rickman, your connection is
And it's a
stable.
big, broad street. And it's a school child street. Rob, you help. Okay. Is this any better?
No, sir.
Can we get him back? I think the weather's got him fading.
Yeah, and Madam Chair, while we're doing that, can we just,
Okay, is this better?
we just stay on the topic?
Are we
Is this better?
Okay.
In the
I see.
meantime, Madam Chair, Majority Leader
I
Ryan.
see her hand up. I was going to call on her. Thank you, Madam Clerk, because, yeah, we need to move. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everybody for their input on this. You know, for me, we must resolve to correct unforgivable injustices of family members that have profited from or perpetuated the slave trade. Quite honestly, I believe Caleb, I feel bad, Caleb, that you're getting beat up tonight because you did a great job of doing your research. Someone mentioned this school. There's a school on this street. There's questions relative to the naming. Quite frankly, I'm not exactly sure who the street is named after, which Obadiah Brown. And I think that that's still an outstanding question for me. I do not believe, I disagree with Mr. Weislick that the resolution is in error. It was crafted with guidance from our archivist. So I just wanted to come to the defense of Mr. Horton, who did research and use source documents to give us the information that he provided tonight. And I also wanted to thank Mr. Rickman as well for joining us tonight and entering some history into the discussion. That's all. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam, no, wait 1 second. I see you, Vice Chairman, but I would like to go back to the Majority Leader.
Yes.
In the second line, it said, whereas Obadiah Brown was the owner of the first known Providence based slave ship.
Yep.
Was he the owner or was his family?
Well, that's a question for Caleb, because
Caleb, can you tell us, was he the owner
ship.
or the family? I'm just trying to get an understanding.
I'll read again. Obadiah Brown, the one that was born 1712 to 1762. He started the business, and his family was a part of that. The Obadiah Brown and Company during the 18th century.
Okay, thank you so much.
So, Madam Chair.
I will hear from Vice Chairman Narducci.
Yeah, Madam Chair, at this point in time, like, like Caleb just stated, he didn't actually say yes or no to the 1833 Obadiah Brown owning that ship. If, as much as I believe in what the leader is trying to do, I don't think we can pass this resolution if there's misprints in the resolution. I think maybe that what I would advise, what I would ask is that maybe we need to continue the matter and get it right, because I, as comfortable as I felt before this meeting about supporting the leader on what she's looking to do, I honestly can't, rightfully so, in my own mind, support something that's sitting in front of me that I'm being told that's the wrong information. That's my feelings, Chairwoman.
So Caleb is basically, Vice Chairman is saying, is this the same one from the 1832?
No, I thought I made that clear for everybody when I said
And you did.
I'll read it again.
Okay, let's hear from Caleb, please.
I just wanted to reiterate Joseph, the Obadiah Brown from 1712 to 1762, just because that was the opening discussion. But regarding the research in the roads and lands that make up Obadiah Brown Field and Trigg Golf Course and its connections with Obadiah, the merchant/slaver, which I was asked to research. Joseph Brown, born 1701, was the son of Elder James Brown, 1666 to 1732. Joseph's brothers were Obadiah, the merchant and slaver, James Brown, 1698 to 1739. These were the ones connected with the slave trade. James, 1698 to 1739, was the father of John, Joseph, Nicholas, and Moses, all of whom worked for James and Obadiah's company involved in the triangle trade and slave trade. Joseph was not a direct partner in his brother's business per se, but he was a farmer, but was close to Obadiah, the merchant/slaver, in speculated lands in Providence and North Providence, including the real estate, and not in present-day Ward 5, but on Town Street, in downtown and North Main Street of Providence. So Obadiah Brown and Joseph Brown were close, and that is the grandfather of Obadiah, born in 1823, who I have said is the one that the street was named after. Excuse me. Obadiah Brown, 1823 to 1907, inherited the land from his great-grandfather Joseph Brown, 1701 to 1778. A farmer, agriculturist, and served as a stint in the state legislation representing North Providence. And as Mr. Weislick has reiterated, he did go over his biography. I apologize if my biography is brief here, but this is a lot of information that I'm trying to converse with gentlemen and gentlewomen. Let's see. Let me repeat that again. The agriculturist that served a stint in the state legislature representing North Providence bought more lots over time. Thus, the small vestiges that survive, i.e. the road and field, which the city now owns, appear to be named after the great nephew of Obadiah the first, which would be the merchant, the slaver, that was eventually acquired by Providence to make Triggs Golf Course in 1929. And this is the Obadiah Brown that has been pointed out who was born in 1823. His direct family line of descent was Chad, John, James, Joseph, Andrew, Richard, and Richard Brown. Again, I was asked as the archivist to provide information on the genealogical line and the link between Obadiah Brown, 1712 to 1762. I have been approached by constituents, and I have talked to Mr. Weislick. I understand, I fully understand his information, and I have passed that information along. I'm not trying to blind anybody. I'm just here to provide information, and that's all I am doing. Information is requested, and this is what I've pulled from my research. And a lot of this research can be found in Pawtucket, to be honest, because the North Providence records are over there, and a lot of these records were part of North Providence at that time, in the 17th and 18th and 19th century. Excuse me.
Madam Chair.
I guess.
Madam Chair.
Wait. I'm gonna call on Majority Leader, and then I'm gonna call on Chairman Narducci.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a simple question, Caleb. The second line of the resolution reads, Obadiah Brown was the owner of the first Providence-based slave ship. Is that incorrect?
No, he was the owner of the first slave ship.
That was my question, yes. Okay.
Can I say something, please?
Wait a minute.
No, mister, you have to wait. I'm calling on
That's okay. I'm just asking.
Wait, Majority Leader, are you done with your question? Is that the question? Because that was my question.
Madam Chair, that's all I wanted to ask. Someone had said that the resolution was incorrect. I just wanted to
I want to reiterate that because that's why I brought it up as a issue for me. All right, Chairman Narducci.
Madam Chair, thank you. And that's what I wanted. It was a very simple yes or no question. And it was the exact question I was going to, that I've been asking since I heard about it. So with that being said, the resolution in front of us is not misinformation. And Caleb, that question is not to you. That question is to, I guess, our clerk, so to speak. We heard it was wrong. We heard it was right. Now we just heard that the information in front of us is correct, that he was the owner of the first known Providence-based slave ship. So with that being said, then I feel differently now because now I'm being set straight that we have the right information on this resolution.
Thank you, Chairman, for making that, Vice Chairman, for making that clear. I want to hear from other committee members. First, I want to hear from Councilwoman Costello if she want to add into this conversation.
Madam Chair, I'm a little confused right now because that's the statement that the other information in the resolution. I want to know is that what is the weird true, like, because confused me a little bit. I'm be clear for the beginning, but now I'm be confused.
Oh, you're confused about whether he owned the slaves or not?
He did not.
Yes, I'm confused about it. Like she is the same person or not.
Okay. Well, we heard Caleb go back and forth and say, according to his research, that was what he ended up getting to. The street was named after the one that were a slave owner.
No.
No.
Relative of a slave owner. I meant to say. Go ahead.
Yeah. I went over the genealogical line, and that's the information I presented. And Bill,
Everybody confused.
Peter, sorry, presented the
So the
biographical background as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, Madam Chair, if I may.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Madam Chair.
Can I hear from Councilman Pro Tem and Pro Tem if it's relation to trying to get the answer to this question? It'd be helpful.
So the Obadiah Brown that the road, the field is named after, was born in, is a complete, totally separate individual that had nothing to do with the slave ship. He didn't own the slave ship because he was born in, what was it? I don't have the paper here.
Was he a relative?
Yes.
Yeah.
All I need to know is he a relative?
Yes.
Right, but he did not own the ship himself.
No.
All right, that's all right to say that, Councilman. Thank you.
So the resolution then is wrong because it states that the Obadiah Brown on the road in the field was the owner of the first slave ship in Providence, which he was not. So the resolution is wrong.
Caleb, can you tell us that, because he's made I mean, we're going back to this second paragraph. If we can just straighten this out, I think we can decide what we're going to do quickly. We're looking at that second paragraph, and I know you keep reading over and over the terminology of that.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair, there's too many people talking at one time.
I know it is, and at this time, I just trying to figure out with this statement.
I don't know if President Pro Temp was done or not.
So I just wanted, it's a simple yes or a no. The Obadiah Brown that we're talking about was not the first owner of the slave ship. Yes or no?
No.
Okay. That's all. No, that's all I needed to hear. No.
What was his relative? Was he his relative?
The one born 1823, no, but that's another person. And then Peter, I'm sorry, I keep misspeaking, was the one that presented biographical information. That's the one that's named after the road. But what I was asked was to gather the genealogical background, who he was related to, and it goes back to Joseph Brown, 1701, who was related to Obadiah Brown.
If we go in the other room, will I be able to?
Okay. But again, the Obadiah Brown we're talking about did not own the first slave ship.
The one in 1823, no.
Thank you. So the resolution is wrong.
Again, I'm just here to present the history. I don't know how the resolution works.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, in addition to Majority Leader's hand, Council President's hand is also raised.
Oh, okay. First of all, let's acknowledge that Council President is present and welcome. I would like to hear from Council President, and then I would go back to Majority Leader, if you don't mind.
Actually, as the sponsor of the resolution before us tonight, Madam Chair, there seems to be some great confusion.
It is. It's very much. And I got confused.
As the sponsor, I'd like to suggest that we continue the matter for further review. It appears that a number of people have jumped in with information just tonight. This is a serious matter. It's a very important matter. I'm very confident in the initiative and the goals that I try to achieve with this resolution. There is a school on that street. Children recreate on that street. And there's a question as to the ancestry. There's a question as to slave trading by this person. This evening, am now also concerned about who Obadiah Brown, who it was actually named after. Was it the landowner or was it the slave owner? It's a large family. There's clearly slave trading throughout the family, and that is how they gained their wealth. You know, I think that, you know, we have to be mindful of contributions of these family members who gained their wealth through the business of slave trade. And that is what's concerning me. And that was the reason why I felt we needed a more someone that the young people could be proud of now. Caleb provided the information. He helped draft the resolution. I was under the assumption that the information is correct. And I actually asked Mr. Horton, and he said that the resolution is crafted correctly. But out of an abundance of caution and respect for family and recognizing the significance of the change that we're hoping to make, I'd like to suggest, as the sponsor, I would like to ask the committee to continue this now for further discussion.
Motion to continue.
Thank you.
Majority, I got the floor now. I have the floor. I have the floor.
Thank you, ma'am.
At this time, I want to say that this has been a very important discussion. And I want us as people, as American people, as people that need not separate America, but be together to entertain conversations that is tough like this. These are tough conversations, but we're in tough times. We heard the teachers say that we need to lead our generation in a different place than we have been in this country year after years after years, right? And especially
Absolutely.
in this time when we're supposed to be expressing our consciousness. No, maybe people say to me, well, my family, I never owned slaves. If it was my family, it's my family. We're talking about institutional systemic racism.
Wow.
We're not calling anyone a racist. But what we're saying, these things are attached in a way that it has been a problem. And as we began to grow and understand things, let's get to our social consciousness. I appreciate every white American who have stood up today and say, we know enough is enough. And that's just me speaking as a Black American who were born in the Jim Crow South, who knows some of these things are stimulants and have been through some changes in life and would like to see a new America. John Lewis passed away, a man that was beaten on a bridge. But one of the things he always held in his heart was the fact that we're going to get there together. We're going to get there together. And whether you want to have these tough conversations and I have these tough conversations is totally up to you as an American. But I want to say thank you. And I want to entertain, I don't want to cut anybody else off, but I also want to entertain the motion that, not even a motion, but I would like to have a motion that we do just that, because for have my committee just trying to struggle around, trying to figure out exactly what's going on is not healthy. It's not healthy for me not to know. So
I would just like to say that I think the issue right now is not whether it's racist, not racist. We need to work together. We need to move forward together as a body. We're going to have a lot of tough decisions coming up in the next couple of years. God knows, and I think most of my colleagues know, I can handle tough discussions better than anybody. But we need to know what this body is passing on the resolution is what we need to pass.
I agree with you, Chairman. I totally agree with you.
I would second the motion that Pro Temp Courier put out to continue this matter.
Right. Well, first of all, I didn't accept the motion. First of all, because I was speaking. If he was speaking over me, then I think that was very unprofessional to do that. But I tell you right now, I understand that we got caught up tonight and we got a lot of information. It's very important that we come together on this thing. And the information that we receive were very healthy information because it makes us challenge and go back and look at stuff ourselves. I would like to accept that, have the motion made again, please.
Make a motion to continue the matter, Madam Chair.
We'll continue the matter to further studies. Go ahead, Councilman Correa. Is it okay to put it out to further studies?
Make a motion to continue the matter for further studies.
And
Thank you, sir. Accept the
Madam-
second.
Madam Chair,
I want to make second, but I want to make a comment.
Okay, I'm gonna
Accept the second,
accept the second.
and now you can
By
have further
Councilman
discussion.
Carrera,
Yeah.
motion by Councilman Carrera, second by Councilman Costello, and then I can open up for discussions.
you have to have the vote first.
Okay. I want to say,
First of all, can I just make the move like the vice chair? He's always looking out for me. I didn't make the move yet. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Vice Chairman. Go ahead, my colleague, please.
So, we have a lot of controversies with the issue. I want to make sure we review everything and put it together and go back in the floor again. Okay?
Yes, we will.
Thank you.
We will. I think and you all have said it so well. There's a lot of things that's happening in this country right now, and it's deep-rooted things, but we're going to get there. I believe we're going to get there together, and I think we are working hard. I want to appreciate my colleague for being so social conscious around things that's happening and knowing that these things are affecting people in this country, Black and brown people, and the disparity of what things that they go through. So I want to thank you for that. Also, I'm sorry that I did not accept the hand of the Council President. Council President, are you still able to make a comment?
Madam Chair, if not, I make a motion to continue item number 2 also.
Brown.
There's a motion on the floor to also continue item number 2.
Second.
Motion.
Second by both Councilman Costello and Councilman Espino. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Please, let's go back and, like Councilwoman Costello say, come back with this discussion. I would entertain in the IRP committee at another time, so please, and let's continue to try to work together.
Madam Chair, at this
Madam
point,
Chair,
hearing no other
Yes,
business.
ma'am.
would it be okay if I just said, would you entertain discussion for me just very briefly on this matter before you close it?
Majority Leader.
Thank you. I just want to thank the committee for your time, for the discussion, and all the folks that came to speak on this matter. I will go back, I will work with Caleb, and we will do our more research, and we will come forth before the committee again. So I'm happy for the opportunity to continue. I agree with you, Madam Chair. This is a very important topic. And for all the reasons that I submitted it, I'm more steadfast in making sure that we do the research necessary and make sure that we get it right. Thank you.
I appreciate you, Majority Leader. You always have taken a stand back to go back and redo things. So thank you for that as well. Please get Mr. Walsley in the loop as well, please, so we can probably have a conversation that is healthy and being able to allow our generation to be able to move on in society. I appreciate all of you.
Thank you, Chairwoman.
Thank you for the guests. Thank you all for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thank you for your voices as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, hearing no other business tonight, can I make a motion to adjourn?
Absolutely not.
Second.
Stay all night. Motion made by Council Vice Chairman Narducci, second by Councilman Costello. All in favor?
Aye.
Please be safe, and we're gonna adjourn. Thank you. Meeting's
Thank you,
over.
Madam Chair.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.